Why do people remember God most in their lives? Why do hearts turn to Him when everything seems lost, when pain feels unbearable, when the world seems heavy and unforgiving? It is because God's love is not just a story, it is a reality that touches the deepest parts of our soul, the parts we cannot explain, the parts that ache in silence. People remember God not when life is easy, not when everything is going according to plan, but in the moments of loss, betrayal, heartbreak, sickness, and despair. It is in those nights when sleep seems impossible, when tears flow freely, when the heart feels like it will break, that the whisper of God becomes so loud it cannot be ignored. The pain, the sorrow, the sense of helplessness, they are not accidents, nor are they signs of abandonment, they are invitations to remember that we are never truly alone. There is a power far greater than our mistakes, far greater than our regrets, and far greater than the chaos around us. And this power is God Himself, a divine presence that never fails, never sleeps, and never forsakes those who call upon His name. So often, people forget God in times of comfort, in times of success, in times when life seems to flow smoothly, because faith does not feel urgent when everything is easy. But the heart remembers God when it feels the weight of the world, when life's storms rage, and when the human spirit feels too weak to stand. And in that remembering, a miracle begins, a divine shift, a release of peace that surpasses understanding. You see, the heart was made to long for its Creator, and even when we try to numb it with distractions, achievements, or worldly pleasures, God's voice calls us back, softly, gently, persistently, reminding us that we belong to Him. People remember God in prayer, in tears, in whispered confessions, and in desperate pleas for help because the soul instinctively knows that only He can restore, heal, and save. Faith is not just believing in God, it is turning to Him in the rawest form of honesty, saying, I cannot do this alone. I need You. And when people remember God, even in the smallest moment of reflection, they unlock the power of divine love, the love that can mend broken hearts, restore shattered dreams, and breathe hope into the darkest corners of their lives. This remembering is not passive, it is active, it is alive, and it has the ability to transform pain into purpose, suffering into strength, and doubt into unshakable trust. And this is why, when life feels unbearable, when the burdens seem too heavy to carry, people turn to God and find that His arms are wide open, ready to embrace, ready to lift, ready to carry those who cannot carry themselves. It is in remembering God that people realize they were never abandoned, that every tear has been seen, every prayer has been heard, and every trial has been appointed with a purpose that is beyond human understanding. And this is the heart-touching truth: God's love is not conditional, His mercy is not temporary, and His presence is not limited. Even in the moments when people feel forgotten, even when they question why life is so cruel, even when they feel anger or despair, God is there, moving unseen forces, orchestrating events for their good, preparing blessings they cannot yet see. So, beloved, if you are watching this and you have ever felt lost, broken, or hopeless, I want you to type 1111 in the comments to declare that you remember God and that your faith is alive, even in the storm. And when you do, know that this simple act is not just a click or a keystroke, it is a spiritual alignment, a declaration that heaven sees your heart and responds. Many people remember God in their darkest hours because darkness awakens the soul in ways that light cannot. When the body is weary, when the mind is troubled, when the spirit is crushed, people reach out instinctively, and in that reaching, they find the unshakable foundation of faith. And God meets them there, not with judgment, not with condemnation, but with love that is so fierce, so tender, so overwhelming that it leaves them breathless, humbled, and renewed. This is why so many lives are transformed after moments of deep pain, why testimonies arise from ashes, why hope is restored to those who thought it was lost forever. And you can experience this too. Even now, in this very moment, as you hear these words, you can choose to remember God, to call upon Him, to open your heart fully to His love. Type 222 in the comments to declare your trust in God's plan, even when you do not understand it, even when life seems unfair, because faith is not about seeing with your eyes, it is about believing with your heart. And as people remember God, they begin to notice small miracles, a door opens that was closed, a relationship restored, a provision made just in time, a peace that floods the soul despite circumstances. These miracles are not coincidences, they are evidence of God's active love, evidence that the universe itself bends in response to faith, evidence that when we turn to Him sincerely, nothing can remain broken forever. People remember God because He is the source of life, the source of healing, and the source of hope. And the heart-touching truth is that God remembers us even when we forget Him. He watches, He waits, and He moves in ways we cannot perceive. And this is why you are never too far gone, never too broken, never too undeserving to experience His love. There is power in remembering God, and there is strength in sharing that remembrance. So I encourage you now, type 777 in the comments to affirm your faith, to declare that you are choosing God over fear, God over doubt, God over despair, because heaven celebrates every act of remembrance, every whispered prayer, every tear turned into praise. And people remember God not just in personal pain, but also in moments of gratitude, moments of awe, and moments of wonder. The human heart, in its deepest essence, carries an innate longing for something greater than itself, a yearning for the divine, for a connection that transcends the boundaries of the physical world, for a meaning that anchors the soul in the midst of life's fleeting moments. This longing is not a mere whim or passing thought, it is woven into the very fabric of our being, a quiet whisper that echoes through our joys, sorrows, triumphs, and struggles. It is a call to something eternal, something unshakable, something that speaks to the core of who we are. And this longing, this sacred ache, finds its answer when we turn our gaze toward God, when we acknowledge His presence, when we surrender the weight of our struggles, the sting of our failures, the shadow of our fears, and the fragility of our dreams into His ever-open hands. What happens in that moment of surrender is nothing short of transformative. It is as if a heaviness that has clung to the soul, like damp earth after a storm, begins to lift. A burden, carried for days or perhaps years, fades into the light of divine grace. And in its place, a joy arises, not a fleeting happiness tethered to circumstance, but a deep, abiding joy rooted in the eternal, unchanging love of God. This love is not a concept to be grasped by the mind alone, it reaches beyond the limits of human comprehension, stretching into the infinite. It is a love that does not waver when the world does, a love that does not falter when we do, a love that remains steadfast even when we feel unworthy of it. People remember God because, in His presence, they encounter something they cannot find elsewhere, forgiveness that cannot be earned, mercy that cannot be calculated, and peace that defies logic. These are not mere gifts, they are divine encounters that shift the very foundation of a person's life. When we experience God's forgiveness, we are not only cleansed of our past but empowered to forgive ourselves. The chains of guilt, shame, and regret that once held us captive begin to loosen, and we find the courage to release the past and step into the future with renewed strength. This is the revolutionary power of God's love. It does not merely comfort, it transforms. It takes despair and molds it into hope, weakness and shapes it into strength, confusion and refines it into clarity. If your heart is heavy, if your soul feels weary under the weight of life's trials, pause for a moment. Consider the invitation to reconnect with the divine. Imagine typing 999 in the comments of a video, not as a casual act, but as a declaration, a moment of claiming divine connection, of aligning your spirit with the eternal. Say, Amen, if you believe that God's love is real, that His mercy is alive, that His power to restore is unstoppable. In that simple act of declaration, you are not just engaging with a fleeting moment, you are activating a spiritual alignment, inviting heaven to move in your life, opening the door to miracles, healing, and breakthroughs. This is not about a single video or a passing interaction, it is about stepping into a divine rhythm, where the soul remembers its Creator and finds its true home. Life has a way of reminding us of God's importance. In the quiet moments, in the ache of pain, in the depths of longing, we hear His voice calling us back. The soul refuses to settle for less than the divine, for it knows that nothing else can satisfy its deepest hunger. Even in a world that can be cruel, where circumstances seem impossible, where betrayal or abandonment leaves wounds that feel too deep to heal, God remains constant. He is faithful when others are not, present when the world feels empty. And as you declare your faith, as you type 999 or Amen, you are not alone. The angels rejoice, heaven responds, and your testimony begins to ripple across unseen realms, touching lives and stirring hearts in ways you may never fully see. People remember God because He is the answer to the questions that haunt them, the balm to the wounds that scar them, the light that pierces the darkness, and the anchor that holds firm in the storm. His love is not a distant ideal, it is a living force, closer than your next breath, stronger than any pain, and bigger than any problem. To remember God is to align with the greatest power in the universe, to connect with a love that is eternal, to unlock a destiny that was written for you before time began. And if this truth resonates in your heart, if your soul stirs at the thought of divine love, then type 222 to affirm, 777 to declare, or 999 to receive. Each number, each word, is a step toward embracing the miraculous, life-changing, heart-transforming love of God. Take a moment to pause. Reflect on your life, on the moments that have shaped you, the joys that have lifted you, the sorrows that have tested you. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly remembered God with all my heart? When was the last time I allowed myself to rest in His presence, to trust in His plan, to surrender my burdens to His care? If it has been too long, if the storms of life have blinded you, if the pain has caused you to forget, know that this is your moment to return. Type 1111 if you are ready to recommit, to step back into the embrace of divine love. Say Amen if you are ready to believe again, to trust that heaven responds immediately to your faith. God remembers you first. Before you ever thought to call on Him, He was already calling you. His love is eternal, His mercy endless, His presence constant. In the tapestry of human experience, God's love stands as the golden thread, weaving through every moment of brokenness, every season of doubt, every hour of triumph. Even when you have lost everything, hope, dreams, or even faith itself, God sees your potential, your purpose, your destiny. No matter how far you have fallen, no matter how hopeless the situation may seem, He is still working for you, still walking with you, still inviting you to remember Him. And the moment you do, something shifts. Miracles begin to unfold, hope rises like the dawn, peace settles over your soul, and your faith ignites with a fire that cannot be extinguished. This is the heart-touching truth about faith, about pain, and about the power of divine love. God's love is not limited by your circumstances. It is not diminished by your mistakes. It is not deterred by your doubts. It is a love that pursues you relentlessly, that waits for you patiently, that restores you completely. So now, if your heart has been touched, if your faith is stirring, if you are ready to experience the fullness of God's love, declare it. Type Amen to affirm that you believe. Type 222 to stand in agreement with this truth. Type 777 to proclaim that God's power is moving in your life. Type 999 to receive the blessings, the healing, the miracles that He is already preparing for you. Heaven is listening. The angels are rejoicing. God is moving, weaving together the threads of your life into a story of redemption, restoration, and purpose. People remember God because in doing so, they step into alignment with the divine plan, they connect with a love that never fails, and they unlock the destiny that was written for them before the foundations of the world. This is not a fleeting moment, it is a sacred invitation to return to the source of all hope, all peace, all love. Consider the moments in your life when you felt God's presence most clearly. Perhaps it was in a quiet prayer, a moment of gratitude, or even in the midst of pain when His comfort felt like a lifeline. Those moments are not accidents, they are divine appointments, reminders that God is near, that He sees you, that He knows you by name. And even when life feels heavy, when the weight of the world presses down, God's love remains a constant force, lifting you, sustaining you, guiding you. It is a love that transforms pain into strength, loneliness into divine companionship, despair into hope, and fear into unwavering trust. The beauty of remembering God is that it is never too late. No matter how long you have wandered, no matter how deep the wounds, no matter how dark the night, God's love is there, waiting to meet you. It is a love that does not demand perfection but offers grace in abundance. It is a love that does not judge your past but points you toward a future filled with promise. It is a love that does not waver, even when you do. And as you engage with this truth, as you type 999 or 1111 or Amen, you are not just responding to words on a screen, you are stepping into a divine moment, a moment where heaven and earth align, where your faith becomes a bridge to the miraculous. People remember God because life, in all its complexity, points them back to Him. In the laughter of a child, in the beauty of a sunrise, in the quiet strength that carries you through a storm, God's presence is there, calling you to remember. And when you do, everything changes. The weight of the world no longer defines you, the love of God does. The mistakes of the past no longer hold you, the grace of God does. The fears of the future no longer paralyze you, the promises of God do. This is why God's love is revolutionary. It does not conform to the ways of the world, it transforms them. It does not leave you where it finds you, it lifts you to new heights. It does not promise an easy life, it promises a meaningful one, anchored in the eternal. And as you declare your faith, as you type 222 to affirm, 777 to proclaim, or 999 to receive, you are joining a chorus of believers across time and space, a chorus that sings of God's goodness, His mercy, His love. You are stepping into a story that is bigger than yourself, a story that began before you were born and will continue long after, a story where God's love is the beginning, the middle, and the end. So pause once more. Reflect on the journey of your soul. Think of the moments when you felt lost, when you felt found, when you felt the touch of the divine. If your heart is stirring, if your faith is rising, if you are ready to reconnect with the God who has never stopped loving you, then declare it. Type Amen to proclaim your belief. Type 1111 to recommit to your faith. Type 999 to receive the blessings that God is pouring out. And know that as you do, heaven is responding, angels are rejoicing, and God is moving in your life, preparing miracles, healing wounds, restoring dreams, and filling your heart with a peace that surpasses understanding. People remember God because He is the source of all that is good, all that is true, all that is beautiful. They remember Him because His love is the answer to every question, the healing for every wound, the light for every darkness. And as you remember Him, as you align your heart with His, you will find that His love changes everything. It transforms your pain into purpose, your fear into faith, your brokenness into wholeness. It is a love that never fails, a love that never ends, a love that is yours, now and forever. So type, declare, believe, and receive, because in remembering God, you are stepping into the fullness of His miraculous, life-changing, heart-transforming love.